Okay guys, welcome back to the Ghost Prepper channel. This is a video some people have been asking about the homemade Berkey filter. And all you're going to need is the Berkey black filters, at least 2 of them. You can run as many as you can physically get into the bottom of the container that you're going to use. And I'm using the 16 quart, I think it's 16 quart. These big ass pots that I got at Walmart. They were like $7, $8 a piece maybe. The Berkey filters were $100 and some change. I got them off Amazon. Just Google Berkey replacement black filters and you can find them. But you're going to need 2 stock pots. You're going to need a minimum of 2 of the black filters. And you can use any kind of nozzle you want. While I was on Amazon, I saw the Berkey dispenser here with the see-through so you can tell how much water's in it. And it was like 12 bucks, I think. So I was like, what the hell, I just got this. That way I knew it would work good and I had a way to tell how much water was in the bottom. First thing you're going to do is you're going to get you a drill and drill 2 holes in the bottom that are just a little bit bigger than that. Once that's done, what you need to realize is these filters are very, very brittle. They break really, really easy, so you have to be really, really careful of these things when you're putting them in here, when you're taking them out to clean them, the whole 9 yards. And really quick cleaning tip for these, you can use your hands. I use a soft sponge, but usually once a month I just run them under some soapy water, soft sponge, get them good and clean, boom. In the kit, when you get these, there's going to be a washer. It looks similar to this, but it's gray. It's a little bit smaller. I'm not sure where mine's at because I never really use it. Because at the house I was at, our faucet had a really small nozzle, so it was easy to use it. But what you have to do to get these things to work is you have to prime them. Because they're very light and airy right now. If you put them in a tub of water, they float until you prime them, then they'll sink. But what you do is you just put this underneath the faucet, make a seal, and turn the water on, let it run really good, and you'll see bubbles and water start coming out through here. What you're doing is priming this filter where it's really full of water so it'll accept water. If it's not primed, it won't filter the water. Now, the easiest way to put these in here, because what you don't want to do is put the filter in here, and the filters go in the top bucket just like this. And then the water filters out and it drips through here into your bottom bucket. Now, what you don't want to do is come in here sideways, screw it in tight, and let the weight of this thing pull on this, because it will break, and these aren't cheap. So what I do lots of times, the easiest way to do it is to just sit it off the edge of the counter where the hole's hanging off. Make sure you can see that. Just sit it right off the edge of your table or your countertop and easily just gently place it down in the hole. And you want to get your washer and your nut. And while you're holding it steady from the top, place your nut on. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The nut goes on here first. The washer goes right here on the bottom of the filter. Then it goes through the hole. So it creates a good seal. Then this screws onto the nut at the bottom. It's very simple. Boom, 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 boom. Now you can do it sideways if you want, as long as you're holding it. You got to make sure it's not, the weight of it's not gonna break the filter off. And once you get the first one screwed on here good, and you don't want to go super tight because this thing's plastic. You just want to, finger tighten it. Once you get the first one done, come over and get the second one. Boom, boom, boom. Put your filter on, your washer on. Sit it down through the hole. Tilt it over on the side. And the great thing is these things are so close together you can hold them both with one hand. Put it over on the side. Just make sure you're not letting it hold itself up because it will break. Get this finger tight. Set it back upright. Now all you do is place it inside this one. You fill this up with water. After you prime them both, you fill this up with water. Put the lid on it. Boom. Now, is it as good as the Berkey? But it didn't cost me $600 either. I've got less than $200 in this thing. And here's the great part. You don't have to use these if you don't want to. You can use 5-gallon food grade buckets. Hell, you can use a 55-gallon drum stacked on top of another 55-gallon drum if you want to, because as long as you've got enough capacity to catch what's being filtered in the bottom, you can put as much as you want up top. My family of 3, when the filters are clean, I can filter this entire pot through it in an hour, maybe an hour and a half. But what I do is I have a couple of the big 2.5-gallon canisters that sit on the counter, and I just put them underneath, fill them up, boom. So whenever we need water, we just come to the canisters, distribute the water, and I keep this full. Like I said, you don't need to clean it about once a month. And you're going to see on the inside of this top, you're going to see like a hard water or lime buildup or something like that. Don't worry about it. This is where you're putting the dirty water in the first place. The filters are filtering all that out before it gets to the bottom. I do wash this entire system every month when I wash the filters, just because it's what you should do. But like I said, in Florida, our water was super hard, and this thing was amazing. I mean, compared to the quality water we were getting before we started using this to what we're getting with this now, it was amazing. And like I said before, these Berkey filters will filter out just about anything. I mean, you can't filter salt water from the ocean. Technically, I guess you could. It's going to destroy the filters really, really quick. Those salt particles get in there and just absolutely destroy it. The way you know when you need to change your black Berkey filters is food coloring. Just get you some red food coloring and drop it in here. When the water starts coming out red, you know it's time to change it. But this thing filters urine. I can go down to the pond out back and dump a bucket of pond water in here and filter it and drink it. Actually, when I do the next video, when I do an update video on this, that's probably what I'll do. I'll go find the dirtiest water I can possibly get and put it in here and filter it and watch you let me drink it in real time. I've done it before. I took water out of the aquaponics system, dirty fish water, and drank it. And let me tell you something. You can't tell the difference between filtered before I used the fish water and filtered after I used the fish water. So anybody that's worried about water filtration, this thing, you can filter stagnant water out of a ditch, anything. I mean, pre-filter it through a t-shirt or something and put it in here and you're good to go. You can drink it. Now, granted, it would be more realistic to, have like a 5-gallon bucket but honestly, you could use any kind of container that filter will fit in. You can filter water with it. So you could theoretically just grab one of these black filters, wrap it in something really good and secure like styrofoam that's not going to bust in your backpack, and go anywhere you want to go, as long as you've got a filter with a hole you can seal at the bottom where you can dump water in and let it filter out. But in my humble opinion, and granted I'm not an expert, there is no better water filtration system on the market right now, especially for preppers. What I do is I filter it nonstop. I store that filtered water in those storage got, and I don't care what anybody says, as long as water is not getting sunlight on it when you store it, it should never be in direct sunlight. Whether that means you paint the containers it's in or whatever, that's up to you. I don't, because I want to see if algae is growing in them. My long-term water storage here in the basement, I'll be honest with you, I'm using milk jugs that I get from Walmart. When I finish a gallon of milk, I wash it out real good, soap and water, let it dry, put the filtered Berkey water in it, put the lid on it, and it gets stored down here in no contact with any sunlight. Yes, over time, the plastic in that milk jug is going to break down, but I mean, everything we get nowadays is in plastic. It's going to break down. In a shit hits the fan scenario, are you really going to care if it tastes a little bit like plastic? I mean, no, not really. I mean, you're going to drink the water. It is what it is. If you have any questions about this system, or you have any concerns about it, feel free to leave me a comment in the description below. Like I said, I'm open for any kind of questions, any suggestions you may have. If you're not subscribed to my channel, please do. Like I said, I'll talk to you guys later. I hope this answered some questions for some people. If you want me to do it in more detail at a later date, I will. I just did it really fast today just to get some fresh content up there for you guys. Thanks a lot for your time, and I will talk to you later.